consulting firm. His duties include overview of all firm business development and client relations. So without any further ado, Bill Gallo.
Everybody hear me well out there? First, I want to thank everybody for hanging in there. I know it's late in the day, we're last, and the folks before us ran a little bit over, so we're going to try and keep you interested and keep you embraced to our presentation, which I hope you'll find to be a little bit different than most, and then get you out of here pretty much on time. We're here to talk to you about pretty much could be considered a case study, and it's called Challenges and Opportunities Implementing the Greenhouse Project brand into a mid-rise skilled nursing facility in a CCRC. How many folks here are familiar with the Greenhouse Project? Put your hands up. Okay, not many. So this will be a very good session because when I put this together, I thought, well, people are going to think we're trying to do the impossible, but I'm happy to tell you that we started this in 2012, and we're here to show you that it is possible. I'm hoping that you can walk away today with some good takeaways. Learning about integrated project team creation and delivery, and that's a very important thing after this assignment. Developing a management plan for consensus building, because that was key to trying to do something that had never been done before. The whole notion of regulatory design compliance testing, and that was really the major challenge, but and you see at the end of this that every one of those challenges led to a marvelous opportunity. And a couple of more things that are just sort of general takeaways that we'll talk about. Now, I've got a great team with me here today. All of these folks are involved in the project. Sitting right here is Jerry Stryker, who's the CEO of John Knox Greenhouse Project, and she'll talk about Greenhouse. And Scott Pfeiffer from RDG Planning and Design, Omaha, Nebraska, who are the architects we selected for the project. So, and John Tyson's at the dais, who's actually from our office, a very instrumental person in making this project happen. So with that, I'd like to bring up Jerry Stryker, who's going to give you some information about John Knox Village and how this whole program got started. Jerry?
Thanks, Bill. That's a little hot. Good afternoon. Well, where is John Knox Village? We're in South Florida. We're approaching our 50th year as we enter 2017. With a little over 1,000 residents, we went on the journey to replace our health care of close to 12 homes, or 144 residents of our 194. We're also within the top 3% of the communities across the country that have a rating A-. So we had good financial sound backing. Well, here's the campus, and the red area really depicts on this 70-acre campus the healthcare center that we have. And you'll see some pictures in the upper area where we moved it to. How many of you, by a show of hands, have been in a skilled nursing residence? Well, these pictures should look pretty familiar to a traditional grandma's nursing home. Long hallways, medication carts, nurses' stations, semi-private rooms. Folks, we can do better than that, and we should. We went about repositioning our healthcare at John Knox Village by making sure that all of the stakeholders, from our board of directors to our residents to our staff and our greater community, they all understood that Greenhouse wasn't where we were growing plants, it was where we were growing people. They weren't coming there to die in a nursing home. Yes, people die, but people have an opportunity to live out a life and thrive. We focused on person-centered care. We've heard that for many years. But allowing the empowered staff is not just turning the keys over to the staff, it was taking the hierarchy from doctor, nurse, caregiver and flipping it upside down so that we could have 128 hours of additional training that the staff would go through so that they truly knew the elder and they would be the best ones to help in the care decision making and also making real home. We had residents that were involved in our community, and they really wanted to make sure that they had private rooms, private baths, and that at the same time we could jump the market. Instead of just painting and putting new carpet down in a semi-private skilled nursing residence or creating private rooms for everyone, we jumped the market by being the first 12 homes in the state of Florida by really creating home. We also wanted to make sure that this wasn't just, again, the health center. We wanted to make sure that this was a destination that of this 70-acre campus, people could come there. And we wanted to position it for both amenities such as a bistro and a wellness fitness studio, and also a variety of different performing arts that could go on there. While it was also home to 12 houses of 12 elders receiving rehab and long-term care. Well, up next is Bill to talk about, here were the constraints of how we were going to finance this and how we were going to continue to bring this about.
Directors of John Knox Village, after choosing the greenhouse brand, which Debbie will talk about in a little bit, and you've heard Jerry use that term, making a real home. We're going to talk quite a bit about that later on, because person-centered care and this concept of home, I know it's a term we use, but the way we use it at the Greenhouse Project is a little bit different than the Webster definition. But here I am, an architect living in Southeast Florida, and the board comes up to me at John Knox and says, Bill, we'd like you to guide this project through to completion for us, and here's your parameters. We're going to put 144 skilled nursing beds in a greenhouse home, and you got a very tight site, so you can't spread it out. It's going to be a 7-story building. So I just said, make sure you keep it under 75 feet, because that was really our threshold. We would like it to be adjacent to a wooded site, which is a very environmentally sensitive area in our community. It's a slash pine forest. It had to be LEED certified because the city of Pompano Beach was offering a tremendous incentive for LEED certification, and as you know, LEED certifications are pretty hard to get in skilled nursing facilities. They gave us a budget of $34,500,000 and a brick and mortar budget of $27,400,000, and they said we'd like to start December of 14. We'd like it to be done in March of 16. My first thought was, why pick an architect? Why would you want me to guide this project? But I think they recognize that architects, and I know there's architects out here, we're clear thinkers, we're very process-oriented, we're creative, and when we set a goal, we pretty much want to accomplish it. So the first thing for me was to define the challenges of this project. We had the unique design requirements of greenhouse, this whole notion of making home. We had a program and design review process which would be very different than how you typically would do it, because typically as an architect when you design a facility, you have a board or a client or an owner that knows their business, knows how to evaluate what they're showing them, what you're showing them as an architect, and knows how they can analyze and critique your project. Well, here we were coming out with a concept that this facility had never done before. So our first challenge was, how are we going to evaluate the design work that we're doing? One of the ways we did it was to go around the country and select team members that had some familiarity with this. Obviously, we have the requirements of the budget and schedule. We also had the additional problem of staff. Well, staff, as Jerry showed you, were already operating an institutional skilled nursing facility on campus. And now they're being asked to change their whole culture and learn about how to deliver medical care in a very person-centered way while they're still operating the facility they're working in. So it became a very challenging thing to accomplish. And people in skilled nursing facilities, and especially in this institutional model, are very fragile. So when we were all done, we were going to take 144 residents and move them from one place to another. We recognized this couldn't be done in a single process. It had to be done very carefully with very fragile people. So, being the guy I am, I thought, okay, we'll make a plan, we'll execute the plan. That's the game plan here. So the first thing we had to do is get a board agreement on a delivery methodology, come back with a management plan to manage the process. We had to build a team. And that was key for me, because I learned a very long time ago from Dr. Jonas Salk back in the 60s that you achieve greater results through cooperation than through competition. So I've been an advocate of that concept my entire career. We had to not only build a team, but we had to obtain consensus on our goals. We had to identify our challenges, create a strategy, and believe everybody a believer in the mission, and execute the plan. The first thing I did was lecture my client on the various processes to deliver a project. And if you're out there, you know what these all are. Many of them are not built on the concept of cooperation. So I'm a firm believer in what I call a hybrid plan, and I had to sell this to the board, which is basically an integrated project delivery without the contractual relationships of integrated project delivery, using the typical contractual relationships in our industry of CM at risk. It gave my client the comfort of knowing where they were going with this project financially, and it gave us the ability to engage a team early on. The second thing I had to do was build an organization chart that could allow us to function. I know this is a complex chart, but fundamentally, we were going to have two people lead this project, myself as the OAR for bricks and mortar, and our greenhouse project guy, who you'll hear for very soon, Debbie Wagon. Essentially, I would lead bricks and mortar, Debbie would lead the culture change. And what we had to do was develop a management plan to make decisions for that process because we were all treading on new ground. So the first way we would do that is to develop a guiding leadership team. And this is something we established, and Jerry alluded to this in his brief discussion. But we felt that everyone that would touch this project or would ever live in it needed to have a say in it from day one. So we involved board members, management, staff, residents, members of the foundation of John Knox, even our council, myself, our greenhouse guy. We brought our architectural engineering team on. We brought our construction management group on very early. Our interior designers. In fact, every consultant that we were going to use in this project was brought on, down to the envelope consultants. We went through a process for selecting our architect. We took proposals from 17 architects around the country. We selected RDG Planning and Design out of Omaha, Nebraska, and when you see the end result, you know we made the right decision. We selected the White's Company, construction managers. They have a senior living division in Iowa. They were heads and shoulders, and had actually heads and shoulders above because they hadn't done a greenhouse before. And they had people on their staff that were committed to the philosophy of greenhouse. I just threw this slide up. I love to put it up. It's the logos of all the people that were involved in this team. You can see, some of you may know some of these, but down to, is this thing working? No, it's not. But if I had a pointer, there's a little cube up there that says GCI, Glazing Consultancy. Even our envelope glazing consultant was a member of our project team. When we built the team, we had to get agreement on our goals, on our parameters, on our strategies, and we had to create responsibility and accountability for every team member, a way to judge their performance through a series of meetings. We understood our challenges, and everybody bought into the schedule and the budget. We had to get compliance with the greenhouse brand. This was challenges. We had to understand our code compliance issues. Skip has been a great advocate of person-centered care for many years. The whole concept of taking an institutional model or a residential model, I can tell you a greenhouse is residential model on steroids, and you'll see it in a moment. We had to figure out how to evaluate our design. We had to take a look at our culture and training, and in the end, we had to start the project. Obtaining buy-in, we actually decided before we began to show people this project, we would take the greenhouse project on the road. We made 3 presentations to ACA, Tallahassee twice, at our local division in Miami. We made presentations to licensing. We even engaged our local building official, local fire official, county officials, and anybody we could think of to try and get them to understand what they were going to ultimately see someday. And then we embarked upon our process. This is execute the plan. So we created these phases, which I take from the greenhouse manual, called discovery, exploration, and design. Anything you do, you start with discovery, You explore those concepts before you start to design. And this has been a great learning process for us all. And the greenhouse, I just want to pull this if you can see it, discovery, exploration, and design. We set out, typical example, we take a look at our regulatory compliance challenges. We write a document which identifies our regulatory compliance challenges. We go see our AHJs and talk about those issues and explain to them what we're going to try and do. And then we set out a process so that they can evaluate our design relative to the concept we want to show them. It's the only way we survive this project. So my job at that point was easy. I was on autopilot, and now I'm going to let Debbie talk.
My name is Debbie Wiegand, and I am with the Greenhouse Project. I've been involved in working with John Knox Village since, for a number of years now. The greenhouse model is really transformational, and it weaves together these three core values that you see here. Creating home is really about creating a real home, not home-like, but real home. So it's changing that environment. It also looks at meaningful life and what that means to the individuals that are living in those homes. And then an empowered staff, really flattening the hierarchy. And when all three of these core values come together, it forms the pinnacle of culture change that most people are striving for now that are involved in skilled care. It also, I would say, challenges providers and regulators to think differently. It's not your grandmother's nursing home anymore. We often think about, when we talk about greenhouse homes, first thing that comes to people's mind is the physical environment looks different. Yes, it does, but also these other two core values begin to challenge thinking. What I'd like to do is show you a video. I think that pictures speak 1,000 words, and give you a chance to look inside an actual greenhouse. Let's see if this will work. I think I was honored, really. Find a home where I could stay and live and be. When I came over here, I wanted that share along with me, because that's been with me all my life, really. Makes me feel like I'm home. It makes better here than that. I can do most here for myself. I can walk around, I can go in the kitchen. I love my room. I don't have to share that with no one. I have everything here to myself. Yeah, I feel safe here. To have my mother-in-law here is the next best thing to being at home. When you get a cup of coffee, it almost looks like you're walking into a living room. The bedrooms are off to the side, 10 private rooms with private beds, and there's always someone cooking. It's more of a very homey, warm setting.
The goal is a complete transformation of the way we currently deliver skilled nursing care. So we want to move from an institutional setting, the setting that when you or I walk into it, we think, please don't ever let me have to live here. And how to transform that into something warm and to create a home that you or I would walk into and think, I'd be happy living here because it's like the home I would have myself.
We don't have a nursing station. We could provide just as good care, if not better, here because of the small environment, and we're interacting with them all throughout the time that we're here. And so we notice things. We notice if there's one little thing, if they've got a sniffle, we notice that. We know them so well. It's a holistic approach.
There you go, and you got a perfect pulse, too.
Greenhouse homes are staffed with a variety of different individuals who all play an important part in bringing the care and services to the home. The key team is a group of people that we call Shabazim. That's the plural of the word Shabaz. They provide care, they provide all the services that are needed within the home.
In this situation, there's nobody that gets overlooked. Nobody, because we are on with them every day. And so I guess what draws me to that is that you can really be involved with them and make their life better.
The Shabbat seems to see things a little better, and I know those residents so well that when somebody's starting to not feel well or their appetite changes, they know immediately what's going on. The transition I've seen has been phenomenal. I've seen weight gain. I've seen residents on puree diets who've been on puree for years come off of it and start eating regular textures. And it's things like that that make this whole concept worthwhile.
You guys getting hungry?
Once you experience the change that occurs with the outreach and with your family members, it will be very affirming that you've done the right thing. The only regret that you'll have is having not done it earlier.
That many more organizations will help join the revolution to make this what skilled care can be. You can see it here on this map. The greenhouse homes are spreading across the country. We have over 208 homes. Actually, when John Knox Village opened, it put us over the 200 mark. We are working in 30 different states. The federal government, CMS, has said this model works. There isn't any reason why you can't build greenhouse homes across the United States. And we work with states, with the local code officials and state officials in making that happen. We're on 50 different campuses, and we're constantly talking to more organizations. There's about 150 people that are in the pipeline that we're talking to. And you can see these 6 states that are outlined here are the ones that are actually in development at this time. We talked about some implications related to John Knox Village really on the national level. I broke it down into these 3 areas of regulatory, architecture, and organizational design. And John Knox Village really had, I think, an impact on the National Greenhouse Initiative by modeling the way for others. They showed how things can be done. The new CMS regulations that I think are going on in another session right now, you can see how many of those new regulations took shape right here at John Knox Village. This is the largest mid-rise greenhouse project at this time, and it's the first skilled nursing in Florida. The complexity of the design and the process, well, it might ward off some providers, but not with John Knox Village. On the architectural side, I thought these were 3 unique components that, again, the team in the very beginning set forth and said these are important to achieve. A lot of times you'll see skilled nursing being tucked away in the back of a campus. This is a beautiful, prominent building that's on this campus, and they were very intentional about making sure that the life care residents that lived on this campus felt comfortable and that they could integrate into skilled nursing. Now, most of you who raised your hand that you've been in skilled nursing, it's probably not a point of destination for you. The Woodlands is a point of destination on that campus. It really is. So they did a nice job of weaving the skilled nursing into the overall campus. The other 2 things are 3 things, and this relates directly to research, and this is published research. There was an efficient floor plan that was designed. These aren't huge places. These are small homes. There's 2 on a floor. And what we have found is that smaller is better. It's what we advocate for at the Greenhouse Project. Getting away from long corridors. You often will see less falls. You will find that people can come together and create deep knowing. There was also a real purpose and making sure that natural light was coming into these homes. You're probably familiar with the importance of having natural light. It's usually not something that you get a lot of in skilled nursing, but you have that at the Woodlands. And then sightlines. Sightlines for both elders and for the staff. This is something that John Knox was able to achieve with the architectural support. And the sightlines are important because the staff is able to see through the majority of the home, anticipate needs before they're even expressed. What does that result in? Usually less falls, and again, deep knowing. The elders that are living there also can see where everyone is. They can see who's coming in the front door. They can see who's cooking food. They can smell the food cooking. So there's a tremendous amount of research that goes into the importance of these sightlines. And then on the organizational design side, well, I would say that this is quite a vision that John Knox took on. They looked at this as an investment not only in bricks and mortar, but an investment in the people that are actually working in that environment. They have a real dedication to the growth of the staff that are there. They have flattened the hierarchy. And what do I mean by that? They have possible. The Shabazim are there to protect, nurture, and sustain the elders and to advocate for what is important to those elders. It was mentioned a little earlier about the amount of education that had to go into this. Over 128 hours for every direct care staff worker that is working in those homes. And they've got at least 100 people, if not more, than direct care staff. And that's just scratching the surface. John Knox Village has now made a decision to work with the National Greenhouse Project and begin a training center that will begin to happen there after the first of the year. So there was quite an investment in people, which is what it takes to make this work and to create real culture change. Regulations. A lot of people will often say, yeah, but that won't happen in my state. Well, I will tell you that in the state of Florida, and I've worked with a lot of different states, this was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had in working with state regulators. We were there at least 4 times, meeting with regulators, and when we do this, we call it, it's all about relationships. It's important that we get to know one another. And in doing so and having these meetings, we would start with some education, and then we would create what's called a regulatory memo, and we tried to go through the regulations and ascertain what is it that might be a challenge. And then we talked about that with regulators. We didn't come in and say, we're here to tell you how. We came in and said, these are the areas where we think there might be some challenges. How can we work together to overcome these challenges and make this truly a real home? And it was Mario Tour who actually said, I think we have the same mission. We're about making lives better for elders. So that really started a nice, I think, common ground. We're always trying to meet, if not exceed, the regulations. And that happened at John Knox Village. There were also, it was mentioned a little earlier again, there were building codes that sometimes can be a challenge. Local code officials, that's probably the most challenging when we're beginning to build these greenhouse homes. And then working with development officials, bringing again that education. If there's one thing I would leave you with, it is the level of collaboration that was happening in the very beginning with the guiding leadership team spilled over into the regulatory meetings. Everyone was looking at this as, how can we make this happen? Not what is in the way, but how can we overcome the challenges? So I'm going to turn it over now to
Scott?
Well, once you add those two, ironically, it gets tougher to get light into the home, so we made that a very intentional thing to make sure that we did not lose that. And then mealtime is very important. We went through the process of programming the building, and we thought we'd take advantage of the fact that if we're going to integrate this into the community, what amenities could we provide for the other residents of John Knox Village? So we ended up with 6 homes, or 6 floors of 2 homes, with the first floor being more of a commons type floor. So we came up with rehabilitation spaces, convocation and multi-purpose spaces, spas. Debbie mentioned the training kitchen and the salon and spa, and it has the regular service spaces. And I think the other numbers we've already talked about, so I'll skip that. We made a program document that outlined every space in the home as well as the spaces on the first floor. It's kind of hard to see, but the pages on the right outline a elder's room, and we went through and identified all the experiential attributes of it. We linked it to research in case someone was looking at this document and wanted to know, why we did something, that there was other things for them to go find out. We listed square footages and, any kind of regulatory requirements, anything we could think of, we put into this program document. And then we had it hanging on the wall every time we met. So if there's ever a question as we were going through the design process, you would go back to the program and revisit where you were earlier. And so then the tabulation on the left was just of one of the homes. It's 8,300 square feet per home, which for a greenhouse home is a little big. We have the 2 extra rooms, and we added a couple areas that I'll show you here in a minute. So this is the John Knox Village campus. To the west is I-95, which is 10 lanes of death. And I think originally that was where the skilled community was envisioned to go. The pointer worked, I'll show you. Oh, right there. Right there. Yeah. So we studied that for a while. We showed everybody what it'd be like. How does it meet up to the program that we had? We also studied the northeast corner up here, as well as they had this wooded area that was right in here that every time we showed up, there were residents walking through on these paths. And they actually had a fund to replace the trees in other locations on campus, and I think the fund was up to $400,000 and some. It's like, why take the trees down? Let's use them. So we started to integrate the building into the trees, and the top half of the building is now it's not working. The top part of the building is the main entrance to the building. The bottom half is what we kind of consider the residence entry. They can come across and go to the bistro and the spa through that wooded area. So there it is blown up. This is the wooded area that I'm talking about. It's got the front door on this side, that's Racetrack Road. And most of the communities over here, there's a high-rise building that's just off the screen here with a lot of independent residents who could utilize another venue, dining venue and amenities. And then it has a service area off to the side as well. And we tried to preserve future growth opportunities. This is the first floor with the service off to the left. The training kitchen is near where all the administrative spaces are. They're on the top left in the orangish color. And then as you get to the other side, you have the convocation, the day spa, and the rehab and fitness gym. This footprint was all driven by the home. So we created the home, we put the homes together, and this is what we work with on the first floor. So this is a typical floor, floors 2 through 7. There's 2 homes that share a common circulation up and down the elevator. So you come off the elevator and you have a choice. You go right or left, and there's a door. And you go to that door and you knock. And either a staff member or an elder will come and answer the door if they wish to do that and are capable of doing that. We talked a lot about the sanctity of home. Everything that we went through, always we went back to what do you do at your own home. And you don't have staff coming in and out of your own home unannounced. So These two homes are totally separate. They don't share any spaces other than the elevator lobby. It's kind of like an apartment. So then if you look at just one side, which is the home, we have the 12 elder rooms that kind of wrap around what I always like to call the heart of the home, and that's the kitchen, dining, and hearth area, which are that green area right there. We still have all of the required regulatory spaces. You try to minimize the medical aspect of the care and enhance the elder, making the elder center stage. They get up when they want, they eat when they want, they pretty much run the show. And I had mentioned that light was important. We were concerned about it, so right away we started talking about how can we get light into this home. So at the end of each corridor, as well as a sunroom, which is right here. That's one of the components we added that bumped our square footage up a little bit. You walk into these homes and they are really bright, and they have incredible views out of them, especially the ones that are looking towards the wooded area. And then we also carried that into the elder rooms as well. You'll notice as you look across there, we've got half bays, full bays, straight windows, and the ones that are straight are taller and have more glass. And then we have corner units and what I call super bays, which you'll see at the very top and the very bottom, which are kind of like a bay that you go out and you have 180 degrees all around of view. So as far as the architecture goes, the building is pretty tall, 7 stories, so it needed the base and a cap. So we started to design it around a modern international style. And this is the front, which is the view that is seen from off campus mostly, and this is the view minus the trees from on campus. So then, regulatory challenges. Some of these are no longer challenges, but they were for us. Open kitchens, accessibility in bathrooms, the laundry rooms, the entry doors I put in there just because that annoys me, so I'm going to show you that. Hearths and fireplaces as well as the nurse call. So open kitchens were not allowed under the life safety code because of the cooktop, and the smoke developed to a means of egress. So when they incorporated those into the 2012 life safety code, they allowed us to go back to the 2000 and allowed us to do this, but we had to do a waiver to do it. So we went through the waiver process, and you have to redo that waiver every year until the new code was adopted. So thank goodness the new code's adopted. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And I have some pictures of what the kitchen looks like. Not a typical skilled community that you've probably been in. Hopefully it looks something more like what you would see at home. Next one is accessibility in bathrooms. This was a lot easier when there was just ADA around. They took the ADA, put it in the building code, and this became more complicated for us. But we have found, well, the industry has found that moving the water closet away from the wall and being able to allow access or assistance from either side is a huge benefit to our population. ADA was designed around a younger veteran with upper body strength, and we have a bunch of older women mostly who lack upper body strength. So by moving the water closet out and using fold-down grab bars, we are exceeding ADA guidelines, and every time we've talked to any access board, they always agree with us. But having it get into the building code complicated it for this project type. So we got approval from ACA and all the state agencies to do that, but the local building official wouldn't let us do it. So we had to go back and build a temporary, or a wall to move the grab bar and shorten the lab so that we had the 5-foot clear, so we met the requirements of ADA. And we went back and did that on 100% of the rehab units and 50% of the skilled units. And in my opinion, made it less accessible.
So that was something that we didn't succeed on. But that's a picture of it. It's a European bath, so the shower is incorporated into the room as shown on the left. And these fold-down grab bars that are shown on the right, we've even made them so that they can move up and down, or they can move in and out. And I don't know how you could argue that that's not more accessible, because you can put them exactly where you need them on any given day. And those needs change as people get knees replaced and hips replaced. And so that about 300 pounds of superior construction management, proving that the wall that we built out to mount the grab bar on in half those rooms was structurally sound. And then one of my personal pet peeves is required to have a 44-inch wide door, and in a residential environment, no one has a 3'8" wide door in their home. And if you can do it out of wood pretty easily and it looks okay. If you're doing it out of metal, which is a little more durable, they don't have a stamp for a 3'8" door, so they use the 3-foot door stamp, and it looks really odd. So we were trying to find a way to get a door that was residential, so we thought we'd do a 3-foot door with a 1-foot side light, that door that could open as well, so that you have a 4-foot opening overall. And I think overall that went pretty well. We had to do automatic flush bolts in order to get that to meet the regulation. That's a picture of it. Doors more residential, and on the left side, the smaller leaf stays in place unless you need it. And then laundry and linen, laundry is done in the home, and there's only 12 elders. So personal laundry is done one at a time. So to be able to do that in a laundry room that's not separated and, more of a residential type laundry room, I don't know that we made it all that way, but if an elder wants to do laundry, they can do laundry. I don't think it happens that often, but they can go anywhere in their home that they want. So we side and a dirty side with an airspace in between and the negative pressure to get the contaminants going the right direction. That all worked out fine. And then fireplaces. The gas burning fireplace isn't allowed, and we got around it by doing an electric fireplace. And if you can put them in now with a waiver, and so now if we were to do it again, we would probably have the gas. Though electric has come a long way and looking pretty good. It looks a lot better than it used to, but we ended up with an electric one. And then the nurse call. You have to have a nurse call, and it has to go to a central location, even though they're now wearing they've got the walkie-talkie or the phone on their belt. So no matter where they're at, they're getting the call and they know where to go. There's only 12 rooms. Still have to have the light. So we figured out a way to do the light with, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a wall sconce on that left picture that when they hit the nurse call, that wall sconce goes on. So we don't have a traditional nurse call light. Still visible, meets all the regs. It's just a different way to do it to make it more like home. And then these are the pictures. Yeah. So the one on the left is the front entrance. Well, they're both of the front entrance. Yeah, these are the renderings. The rendering on the top left, picture on the bottom right. That's what it is. The left here is the reception area on the first floor with the bistro on the right. That's that super bay that I was telling you about in the corner elder room, and a dining area with the kitchen beyond on the right side. That's the entrance to a home, and we tried to customize those or make each one different as you moved up the building. Actually, as you get off the elevator, the interior designer did a nice job of putting recesses on the wall so you know what floor you're on when you come off the elevator just by looking at the artwork that's on the wall. So you go to that door, you knock, and someone will let you in.
A couple of little things here. So Scott mentioned a couple of things, and I think they're really important. The challenge for us, and the test along the way, every step of the way was, we looked at everything that went into this building: doorknobs, doors, hinges, carpet, hardwood on the walls, and every step of the way it was, would you have this in your home? That was the operative term. You could see from, and he went through 6 examples. We probably had 30 of code compliance challenges that we had to deal with. Those are 6 big ones. You could see we pretty much got what we needed to make this a successful home. My hope today is that everyone in this room looking at this, when they see it, says, gosh, we had this eureka moment. Every skilled nursing facility in this country should be this way. And if you have that reaction, then maybe we could win on all of these things as we collectively put our minds together. Because to an elder living in his home, the fact that it's just like your home that you came from is critical to the quality of life you lead out to the point at which you make the transition. So I'm happy to say, with all of that care and love, we beat the budget, we beat the bricks and mortar. In the course of 5 years, we ended up about 6 weeks late, pretty much due to a glitch that had to do with bidirectional amplification systems and coordination amongst the municipalities in a county that we live. And we were just notified about 3 weeks ago that we went for certified and we achieved gold. So it is possible to get the LEED certification on a complex building like a skilled nursing facility and have it look like someone's home. I always like to think of our design as, we didn't really design a home, we designed 12 homes, and we just piled them on top of each other because we live in an urban world. But each floor of that home is like a house. And I think the takeaways, there's a few things here. I got a picture from I'm going to go right to the next one, from the dedication. If you don't know that gentleman who has his arms around myself and John Burge, the principal of RDG, that's Dr. William Thomas. He's the guru of the Greenhouse Project. He's a marvelous guy. If he ever speaks anywhere where you are, you should go listen. He's sort of a bit of a Pied Piper. But great minds plus cooperation, which I talked about in the beginning, yield great things. And I left that quote from Dr. Joan Saul. And at John Knox, they do a very interesting thing I think it's every other week, once a month, where they honor people that work there, honor residents. And they honored a woman that had worked there for almost 20 years. And we just want to leave you, if you could hang with me another 2 minutes for a video. I don't know how we make this. Actually, we're doing really well. Oh, thanks.
You guys can stay. Hang on a second. We're going to take the picture. Don't run away. Well, and the second celebrant for this month, October 1996, 20 years ago, Pamela Smith came onto the campus at John Knox Village. Pamela is a certified nursing assistant who works on our 11 to 7 shift, and she became a Shabazz. After 19 years in the health center, she is now in the Woodlands, and she loves what she does. She's a mother of 4, grandmother of 7. You know, it's neat how all our caregivers also have their families, right? The John Knox Village family and their family. And she knows that John Knox Village here is part of her family. So thank you for 20 dedicated years to John Knox Village. Pamela, congratulations. So if you want to come by for a cup of tea with Pamela between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m., come to the Poinciana, home number 12. Care to say anything?
Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank the residents and the elders of John Knox for their generosity. And I see here being at John Knox, this is a big family. You guys are family. I'm came to John Knox, I worked on the agency. I'd never been into a home setting like this before, and I'm very happy to be here. I look forward to coming to my elders. They're not residents now, you know, elders every day, every night that I come here. And as far as staff, you know, we all have a little urge, but we try to, over in the Woodlands, we're making it work. We see a lot of remarkable changes in the elders' lives to where some of them that didn't used to say much now speak and talk with us. And the ones that didn't walk, get up and walk now. You know, so the Woodlands is making a big difference in their life over there because it's not that old setting like it used to be. By them living in a home-like setting, as if it's their home, they do what they want, make their decisions. We don't make these decisions for them. It's change, you know, bringing out some changes in them, and you know, and we're happy to see that. I just want to say thank you. And the Woodland is a great place, and I'm loving it. Thank you.
Pamela Wallace, 20 years at John Knox Village. When she shared these comments just a week ago, the residents, the board members, the greater community that had come out that day to honor her, they realized we were making a difference. You too can make a difference. We'd like to take questions right now, if you have them, for any of us up here. Thank you.